but when things started opening back up, I was still just I was I was just still mentally in a weird creative place. Like
Hmm.
a lot of things couldn't really kick creatively. Mentally I just didn't all the way feel myself, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it definitely took a toll. And I don't want to skip too far ahead, but the dope thing about it, so a lot of things were still shut down, but the film industry, found a way to like keep itself open. So um I got reached out to. So there's this show called All American. They
Hmm.
were filming the third season of that, but they were getting ready to do a spinoff. So instead of doing a actual pilot for the spinoff, they used one of the episodes for season three to work as like a pilot. So the show All American is based in LA, but the spinoff was to be based in Atlanta. So they had to like use spaces that they haven't like used before,
Hmm.
and they didn't. I can't speak all the way on their part. So, but I got reached out to be a part of that, and I'm like, you know what, like man, it gets me out of the house. It's a cool check. Like I get to kind of this is like the first thing I could do to see like if I could walk around and do strenuous activity. Because prior to that, it's just I'm doing my physical therapy. I'm in the house. Oh, I'm in Vegas at a hotel chilling. Like I wasn't like doing much active. So uh so and that episode took 3 weeks to shoot because they were just trying to figure it out because it was pilot. So the episode took 3 weeks to shoot. I was supposed to just like be like a random like college kid
Hmm.
as some kids were on a college visit. One of the one of the Fridays got done uh after we got done shooting, I'm driving home. They called me. The crew calls me. The casting people call me, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, like we've been seeing you on camera. Like you look really good. Like would you be interested in playing one of the main characters, like boyfriends? Like, uh, you're gonna like walk into a party and see her like throwing herself at another dude, and then you get real jealous, and you're gonna have a kissing scene. Like, would you be interested in that? I'm like, what? I was like, why wouldn't I? You know? So, so bam, that dude's, so I got to be, and I didn't even know how popular that show was. Like, that show has a crazy cult following. So
Hmm.
my character's name was Terrell. I got to walk in there. Like everybody's like, oh, okay, now do this, do this. Like everything was kind of centered on me because I walked into this frat house and I see my girlfriend dancing with the main character from the original All American, and I get
Hmm.
real jealous. And then I start like dancing on girls to like get in her face. And then later on, me and that same girl, like we have a little kiss scene. So that was my first like on-screen kiss scene and all of that. And so that was dope. And it was just such a mentally refreshing feeling because acting wasn't like my acting wasn't like a first passion of mine or something I had like vast ambitions for or experiencing. Because the reason why music it was difficult for me to be creative in that is because I feel like the injury, like I lost a lot of momentum, and I feel like a lot of my relationships got in a weird place, and it's like, man, there's so much rebuilding I have to do. I got this weird random opportunity to do that, and then even from that, this other show called me, and then they were like, hey, we like your look. Like, would you willing to do like a shirtless scene over here, like a you're in a locker room and a girl she's trying to run away from somebody and she breaks into the locker and you're there with your shirt off, startled, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, and I got a nice sizable check for both of those opportunities, like and honestly, like with no credentials, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yep.
um uh so I look at that, and this is 2021. They film it, and then so when that episode of All American aired, So I'm gonna be all the way honest with you. And my wife is next to me right now. So we watched the episode when it aired on the CW,
Uh-huh.
and they showed some of my scene. They showed when I walk in there and get jealous, but they didn't show like when I start dancing with the other girl. They didn't show my kissing scene. So I was like, I was like, damn, like, and you can ask my wife. I was like, I went back into like this crazy mode or whatever. So I'm just like, whatever. So then my phone kind of like starts blowing up. My social media starts blowing up. People texting me like, oh man, I saw you on blah 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 blah. And I was just like, yeah, man, thanks, man, I appreciate it, blah blah blah. I was like, man, I had another little scene, the kids scene, they cut it out. They was like, no, they showed it. They was like, watch it on the app. So I downloaded the app and watched it on there. And I was excited. My wife was excited, like, oh man, this is dope. So then being in the entertainment industry, I have a lot of friends that are like actors or like work in film. So that came out like, man, like we had a lot of like all American like fan groups and YouTube started following me. They started talking about my character, like who is this dude and he's gonna be a problem, whatever, blah blah blah, like on YouTube channels. And so I'm like, man, this is dope, but I don't know, like I don't know this industry. I don't know it well. So I just made a post on my Facebook like, yo, any of my acting friends, like if y'all could point me in the direction of some representation, I'd appreciate it. So I have a friend that's an actress. She introduced excuse me, sorry. She introduced me to her manager, and um we met, we had a meeting. I kept it very blunt with her, like, man, I really don't know, but I was like, I am in SAG, I've done some small things. I don't know much, but kind of like what we're talking about, like, man, I'm a fast learner. I've had success in the music industry. I'm a very creative person, like,
Hmm.
man. So we met, we hit it off. She liked my look or whatever. She had me she had me do a little things that some of the resume builders, you could say, to
Yep.
to to get me right there. And then man, we just started going from there. And then you know I was so appreciative of how those opportunities helped me mentally
Hmm.
during one COVID and the pandemic when the world was shut down, just to be able to get out the house, and two, to take my mind off of everything I was going through mentally.
Yep.
So it became like an appreciation, but through the process it turned into a love. And even so, how you were able to ask me that question before, if you would ask me before I started acting, if you would ask me what type of role, I'm like, oh, something I could do, something that's relatable to me, like, basketball player, or like, college student, whatever, blah blah blah. Something I can relate to. I'm not really an actor like that. That's kind of what my approach was. Now I'm like tapped in. I'm like, yo, acting is a part of me. You know what I mean? Like, so I really try to push myself. I love the challenging auditions that I get. I love the people that I work with that help develop the craft. So it's another craft that I'm very passionate about, and I'm really just enjoying the ride because it's like I'm a little kid learning to play catch with my grandfather. That's how
Hmm.
I'm approaching it.
Yeah. What I love about what you just said is, and so many people can't find this space, is when you weren't right physically, you were grinding mentally, you were grinding on what you could do at the time, you were developing yourself, like you said, getting out 5 6 songs a day, you were killing it on what you could do. And so many people fall into a depression and they're just unable to do anything. And I get messages from people all the time like that. So
Definitely.